Hello and welcome to your favorite technology show, Tech360. I'm your host, Ayush Alavadi. We are live from Maximum City. Actually, we'll be covering the situation around the country, whether it's Delhi's AQI crisis, what you can do to really prevent some of that harm, how tech can make your lives a whole lot easier, also what's happening in the world of smartphones, and so much more. When should you upgrade your devices? That's a key explainer. And from the world of auto and AI as well. So much to go, action-packed episode coming your way. Let's get this show started. If you stepped outside in Delhi or anywhere in North India for that matter over the past few weeks, you know the drill. The smog hits you before you even realize it's there. This winter has been particularly brutal with severe AQI levels that make even short outdoor walks feel risky. Worse, staying indoors no longer guarantees safety. Closed windows, low ventilation, and constant pollutant buildup mean your home often mirrors the outside air. That's where devices like Dyson's hot and cool HP12 start to look less like premium appliances and more like seasonal survival gear. This isn't an air purifier. The HP12 is a 3-in-1 device that handles air purification, yes, but heating and cooling, essentially covering you for all of India's weather cycles. But the real question is simple. Does it make a meaningful difference in a pollution-heavy city like Delhi or the National Capital Region? Well, let's find out. At its core, the HP12 uses a sealed HEPA H13 filter that captures 99.95% of particles as small as 0.1 microns. Exactly what you need when PM 2.5 and PM 10 dominate winter air. Dyson adds a K carbon filter that absorbs significantly more nitrogen dioxide than standard carbon filters. This is also a huge improvement from the previous version of this device. That's crucial because NO2 is a major irritant in New Delhi, coming from traffic, generators, and even your gas stove indoors. In Delhi, where AQI can swing drastically within hours, this live monitoring isn't a party trick, it's a practical necessity. Also, everything reflects very well on the My Dyson app. The UI, the UX is top class. It is the Apple or the Range Rover of air purifiers and batteries. That's what Dyson does right. There's a bunch of other air purifiers in the market. Some are relatively inexpensive. But if you have to make it intuitive, if you want to be sure that your data is safe, secure, everything is laid out in a practical sense, the My Dyson app is probably the most world-class app out there when it comes to air purification, and also with their headphones, which we'll cover maybe in another segment. Now let's stick to air purification. This purifier adjusts automatically depending on what it detects. Similar to their vacuum cleaners, right? Ensuring efficient filtration without unnecessary energy use. You see how it's oscillating whilst I'm speaking over here? That's a 350-degree oscillation. That's called Dyson's air multiplier tech. This 350-degree oscillation ensures the airflow reaches across the room rather than just in one direction. With purification coverage of up to 81 meter cube and heating coverage of 35 meter cube, it works well for bedrooms and medium-sized living rooms, essentially the kind of closed spaces where pollution tends to stagnate the most during winter. Let me put it in perspective. I'm here in a standard size mini gym, a home gym, and this is around 150 to 200 square feet. This one, the HP12, can cover an area of almost up to 300 square feet. So that would be maybe a small 1 BHK here in Mumbai or the size of your garage in New Delhi. But basically, that's what this is meant for. There are other air purifiers which cover larger square foot areas. But more importantly, you might need multiple air purifiers in Delhi and you might need to maintain it a lot more. It's very easy to just pull out the filter over here. Here in Mumbai, it's not that bad, but in New Delhi, people are complaining about some of these filters even getting jammed in a couple of weeks. In normal circumstances, even 6 months to a year, and these filters work. You can go online on Amazon or any other e-commerce website and pick up another filter, a HEPA filter, for a lot of these air purifiers. But I'll tell you what really piques my interest and what caught my eye. When we were doing that exclusive interview in the first couple of weeks of Tech360 with Sir James Dyson himself, we sat in a room in Berlin on the sidelines of IFA, which is a big tech conference, and it was fairly decent weather, maybe 15, 16 degrees. went up to 18 degrees, 22 degrees in the day. But all we had in that store and in that shoot area was this particular air purifier. Cooling the room by a couple of degrees, it does a very good job. And that is one of this particular product's biggest strengths and advantages. In winter, it becomes a sort of a room heater, normalizing the temperature. And in summer, it becomes a cooling fan. I won't say an AC, but a cooling fan is the right terminology. And all year long, it's an air purifier. For people in North India, especially Delhi NCR, where seasons swing between extremes, the multi-use approach makes a lot of sense. And in fact, this seems like a product which is maybe built for the world, but has a very solid use case here in India. Control options, of course you have the app, but then you also have this magnetically attached remote device buttons. You have these buttons right here. You also have the mobile app and smart home assistants like Alexa, Google Assistant and Siri. You can sync it up with them and it works fairly well. It fits easily into a connected home setup and doesn't require any real technical learning curve. You can give this to your aged parents, grandparents. Very simple remote, just like your AC, and once you're done with it, I just learned that you can snap it on over there as well. Now yes, Dyson products are expensive. This one's nearly 70,000 rupees, but it's a company built on innovation and engineering, and sometimes if you can afford it, it genuinely justifies the cost, especially with the amount of hardware that's gone into this and the software experience as well. The HP12 retails at 68,900 rupees, so that's nearly 69,000 rupees and comes with a 2-year warranty. As usual with Dyson, the design is bladeless, which is safer for homes with kids or pets. The device shuts off automatically if it tips over or overheats. Small but important touches for daily use. For people living in Delhi or any Indian city facing worsening winter pollution, the HP12 tackles a very real problem. It's expensive and filter upkeep is something you'll need to budget for, but it offers a strong mix of filtration capability, NO2 absorption, real-time tracking, and year-round utility in a season where indoor air quality can dip dangerously low as well. The HP12 becomes less about luxury and more about maintaining a safe, breathable home environment.
The latest Android flagships or iPhones, whenever these new launches happen, it's our job as tech reviewers, content creators to cover these launches, to figure out what's good for you and what's not. Is it a true bang for your buck? Is it a value for money proposition? Which camera is better? Which AI is better? But for the average user, and if this wasn't my job, how often would I be upgrading my smartphone? Not just smartphones, my iPads or tablets or my Windows computers. How often and how soon and frequently do you need to upgrade your devices, given some services only are available on these devices for a certain amount of time? Software updates, security updates, longevity, build quality, durability. What is the ideal upgrade cycle for your devices? Well, Tech360 has gone out for a little bit of a spin just to find out from you what your usage patterns are like, and then we'll give you the lowdown as well.
How often do you change your phone or a laptop?
So I, being an avid user, take at least 5 to 6 years before even thinking of switching.
Almost every 2 years.
Smartphone, I would like on an average 6 to 12 months.
Last time I upgraded my phone was in 2024.
It takes around 20 minutes,
Like, how long do you use one phone?
less than 6 months.
The case is मैं ज़्यादा जल्दी अपना phone नहीं change करती हूँ.
I do it when मेरा जब phone मुझे लगता है बिल्कुल ही खराब हो गया है.
And what is the reason behind upgrading every 2 years?
Upgrading every 2 years because I break my phone very easily. Once I believe that the battery has given up on me, once that is the case, then only I go ahead and upgrade it.
और especially iCloud full होता है तो आपको it is necessary that you should change your phone.
As soon as the new phone comes, I buy it.
I think it is just an impulsion, that's it. It's just impulsive behavior, nothing else. Because there's no meaningful upgrade that you're getting as a consumer nowadays. I think the phones have reached a saturation point where there's nothing exciting is coming.
If the battery is not working with me,
I'm an Apple user first of all, so 5 से 7 साल के if you're getting your OS updates and your security updates, so that doesn't make a sense, like financially also and otherwise also. If you're getting the use out of it, that's fine. Like 5 to 6 years is an average for me.
And laptop, if you use any?
I use my office laptop, that's it.
I'm still using it, so nothing else.
Laptop, वही same.
I don't have laptop at all.
I do not upgrade laptop. I don't even use a laptop. I use big tablets mostly.
Laptop, I've been using a MacBook, so I just recently purchased it in 2023. So it's a pretty new laptop for me anyway. So if you're going that route, maybe like within 7 to 10 years.
Okay, now that we know how often you upgrade your smartphones and what really drives those decisions, here's a Tech360 explainer on how you should approach upgrades so you're not adding unnecessarily to the carbon footprint or hurting your pocket. Most people change their phones or upgrade them every 2 to 3 years, but today's hardware, especially if you're using an iPhone, lasts much longer. Apple's software support cycle is one of the biggest reasons people hold on to their devices for 4 or even 5 or more years. iOS updates arrive consistently, performance doesn't really dip with every new version, batteries gotten sorted as well, and security patches run long. That is key. Even older iPhones continue receiving new features well past their launch date, helping them age far more gracefully. Android tells a different story though. While things are improving with Google and Samsung and a few others promising longer support, the experience is still inconsistent across brands. Many budget and mid-range Android phones receive fewer major OS updates and rollout timelines vary widely. This doesn't make Android phones bad. It simply means the long-term experience can differ a lot. For users who prioritize stability and predictable software longevity, iPhones do still have a little bit of an edge over Android. What about laptops, you might ask? Well, laptops follow a similar pattern. Traditional Windows laptops can deliver great performance, but long-term reliability depends heavily on the brand, processor generation, and how well drivers are maintained. Over time, heat, battery wear, and software bloat can slow things down, which is why many people feel the need to upgrade every 3 to 5 years. MacBooks with Apple Silicon, however, have changed expectations entirely. The M series chips, that's the M1, M2, M3, are not only faster and more efficient, but also hold performance impressively well over time. Mac OS updates remain stable even on older machines, and battery health is typically preserved better. Many users comfortably stretch their upgrade cycles to 5 or even 6 years because the device simply doesn't feel outdated. So, in short, upgrade when your device can't keep up with your needs, not when a new launch drops and when we cover it. If you're in the Apple ecosystem, both iPhones, MacBooks, iPads offer the longest runway. For Android and Windows users though, the upgrade cycle is a bit shorter, but choosing higher-end models from reputable brands can extend device life just as effectively. Well, now we know how often you upgrade your devices, and you know how often you should as well. But on the other side of a commercial break, we'll be talking about how much tech is too much tech, especially in your cars, which, let's be honest, are just tech and batteries now on 4 wheels. Also, what's the latest from the world of AI? All of that on the other side of a commercial break. I'll see you there. Nowadays, there are cars that are just built different. Some that offer you the features and tech that you need, and some that offer you the tech that you probably don't need, but their marketing team really needs to sell those cars to you. Well, here on Tech360, we want to cut all that noise away from the conversation and tell you about the things that you need. Find out what it is that you are actually using. Some of these tech features that these cars are selling to you, how many of them are you buying? And how much of that marketing lingo are you buying, and how much of it is genuinely making your life easier and are actually features that are useful? Here's a Tech360 special report by Sharat Nair.
Yesterday I was playing Scrabble with my niece. Yeah, we're very like that. But because she's 6, we have one very simple rule, which is I cannot use very complicated words because, she won't understand. So I had OVER on the board and I couldn't use over parameterize or over intellectualize, and because my pa was also sitting there, I couldn't do over confident or over smart because he'll be like narcissist. So what I did was overtech, OVERTECH. Of course, an argument followed that that's not a word, but why is that not a word? So many times tech companies just shove features down on us, which we actually practically don't need, don't use. So here's Tech360 coming up with something called overtech, which now we're going to use every time we see such a feature. So today, we're doing that with auto. I'm going to come to you guys and look at features that tech companies, auto companies have put on us, shoved on us. We're not going to use them. So this is overtech.
For me, I think sunroof.
Charging system बहुत low है.
They have a full window, glass on the top. Anti-collision thingies when you're trying to reverse that decide that they're seeing a wall and they're not. When they slap the brakes on and make you jump.
Sounds क्या बेकार आ रहा है थोड़ा. Voice activated command.
They are an implementation that I really don't like, especially for things that are right there. The button is right there. So let's say for opening the sunroof, I press the button and it opens. I say the command to wake the keyword, with the keyword first. Processes. Then I say the command open sunroof, processes, and then it opens again. Don't do that. Instead, have it for things like, telling where the navigation should go, playing that song, calling someone, things that would actually require me to stop and then type on the keypad. Do that for voice commands.
We are getting technology from there. We are putting a big, huge screens, removing the buttons.
जैसे ये स्क्रीन है, इसमें बटन हटा दिए, बड़ी स्क्रीन कर दिए, ध्यान भटकता है गाड़ी चलाते हुए.
All screen displays with no physical buttons, and that's a huge problem for me as well. I have been driving ever since I turned 18.1. Yeah, on the night of when I turned 18, that's when I was actually driving. So for me, being one with the car meant if someone immediately said, hey, Sharad, just put the AC to 21, without keeping my eyes off the road, I could actually just set it with the buttons. That's something that's missing. Hey, why am I standing right next, parked on a highway, digging through menus, trying to set the treble and bass? Don't do that. Give us some tactile buttons.
Heated seat, which I believe it's not, can say that a regular feature which is useful for nowadays, because in India it's a moderate temperature.
For the sake of my sisters and brothers from up the hills, up cold, I'm not going to bash on heated seats too much because they'll use it perennially. For the rest of us in India, that's a wasted feature. Aren't we already very hot and humid? So give us ventilated seats, like nice fabric on the seats, which breathes in itself and gives cool ventilation. Give us that so that I can be sitting like this more and more in my car for those long trips that I love taking.
They have one silly header display, which was actually, it was like when you had to concentrate on that to actually see when they're giving you right turn or left turn. You have to actually focus, and it was not just focus in such a manner that you had to concentrate to get to see where you are going.
In India, already driving needs your full attention. It's a sensory overload. And imagine putting a small little display called the heads-up display into that mix. Now, I've seen a couple of my friends not adjusting it to your view line of sight, which means while they're driving, then they need to adjust themselves left or right to figure out the small little display and the navigation, small little graphic navigation that it shows. Don't do that.
Automatic lane change system. So on Indian roads, I feel that's not very good. Like, it's not very safe. Maybe in a Western country better, but I think that's a safety hazard. That's my perspective.
Find me a competent enough autopilot and a perfectly working, functional enough ADAS system in India that will drive me from our office in Noida to, let's say, the coffee house here in CP. And then what I will do is, to those of you who find that autopilot, I will carpool with you guys. I will drive, of course. See, ADAS and autopilot, they're really nice features. I'm not saying no to them. But India, the implementation in India needs a completely different level of adaptation to the environment and our driving conditions. There's a long way to go. And these features thereby, they just seem like half-baked. So that was our list of 5 features that we kind of do not want on cars. Like if you have them, at least do a better implementation. Overtech. Now, What I want you guys to do is send us a couple of more suggestions on what to do this on. Smartphones, sure. Laptops, sure. Cameras, why not? Keep them coming. This is Tech360 from New Delhi. Such a pleasure to be doing such lists for you guys.
Here on Tech360, we like covering the latest and greatest from the world of tech. And in 2025, if you're talking about technology, then you have to talk about artificial intelligence. Massive announcement this week, Gemini 3, which marks an important release for Google at a time when major AI companies are rapidly updating their flagship models. The new system is positioned as Google's most capable AI model yet and is arriving first in the form of Gemini 3 Pro across Search, the Gemini app, and the company's developer tools. Early benchmarks shared by Google suggest improvements in several areas, including reasoning, mathematics, and better performance on multimodal tasks involving text, images, video, audio, and code. Google is attempting to close gaps that opened up as rivals released newer versions of their models over the past year. One of the notable additions to this particular Gemini launch is the Gemini agent system, which is designed to handle multi-step tasks such as email organization and travel planning, though real-world behavior will likely determine how reliable these systems truly are. For developers, the model is launching alongside Google Anti-Gravity, a development platform where agent-based workflows can help automate parts of the coding process. Google is also testing a more advanced version. It's called Gemini 3 Deep Think, which is still undergoing safety reviews before a wider rollout. Safety and security remain a top priority according to Google. The company describes Gemini 3 as its most secure model to date, with added protections against prompt injection and misuse, basically by bad actors, along with third-party evaluations. As with any model at this scale, how it behaves once deployed to millions of users, basically once the genie is out of the bottle, will be a key indicator of its robustness and of course its commercial success. But a key question surrounding the release is why Gemini 3 carries so much weight for Google. Why are they in the spotlight? Let me put this into perspective. Over the past year, the company has faced growing competition from multiple AI labs, each releasing models with strong reasoning, reliable multimodal understanding, and increasingly capable agentic features. Google's major projects, particularly Search, now rely heavily on keeping pace with AI development. So AI mode, for example, there's maybe hundreds of millions of users who are now using it because it comes with default with Google Search. Is that the way to really crank up the numbers in terms of who's using your service? If Gemini 3 performs consistently in real-world usage, it may help stabilize confidence in Google's direction. In the event that the model struggles to meet expectations, the company could risk falling further behind at a moment when user habits and developer ecosystems are shifting quickly. Gemini 3 Pro is rolling out now across Google's consumer and developer platforms with additional features, and the Ultra tier expected to expand availability in the coming weeks. But the real question is Gemini 3 truly keeping up with the other AI models? Yes, in many respects, Gemini 3 is right in front of the pack and doing a fantastic job as well. I use it all the time, and in some areas, it's genuinely competitive, even better than the others in the race for tasks such as multimodal reasoning, integrated agentic workflows, especially within Google's ecosystem, or more future-facing AI use cases involving video generation, audio, code, and image processing. It's not the market leader yet because Gemini 3 still isn't clearly dominant across several key dimensions though, including search-style answers like Perplexity gives you, live web citations, developer ecosystem depth, and overall tooling breadth. ChatGPT and Perplexity hold strong advantages in these areas, and they're unlikely to be overtaken immediately. And that's interesting because if you are viewing the tech landscape from a distance, you would imagine Google, with that search repository, with years and years of being the market leader in search, would be able to use some of that to be right on top with Gemini. But in fact, what you are seeing in terms of innovation is ChatGPT getting into search, getting into the browser game with OpenAI and Atlas, Perplexity working on so many more ways, and integrating and developing partnerships here in India as well, getting the numbers up here in India. For Sam Altman and for Perplexity, that seems like a top priority, and we'd hope that it continues to be for Google as well. as consumers and end users who benefited from the geo wave of 4G and now 5G, we're just very happy because a lot of the telcos are giving us these services for free. We'll do another piece on whether we should be paying for these services when you're getting so many premium features for free now with your Airtel, Jio, Vodafone subscriptions. But largely as end users, we stand to benefit in this age of AI. We just have to be a lot more responsible, ethical, and use AI and technology to our advantage. But for now, here's the lowdown on Gemini 3.
Artificial intelligence, cars, air purification, upgrading your devices, so much content packed into one episode of Tech360, yet another action-packed episode of your favorite technology show draws to a close. We hope you've enjoyed this particular episode. If you want to consume the rest of our content, all this and so much more, remember it's always available across the NDTV network and across the multiverse. So if you want to log on to the NDTV website or on our social media channels, also on the super popular, super cool and slick NDTV app, Tech360 is available across. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. Until next week, this is your host Ayush Alavadi saying adios.